This is Cognitive Biases Part 2, and in this lesson we are going to discuss about the confirmation bias. So this is the second bias that I wanted to discuss in this course, because it's a very important bias that can make you lose trades and not respect your system. So if we check Wikipedia again, here I have the list of cognitive biases in Wikipedia. Those are many human biases here discovered by scientists along the history. And we have here the confirmation bias, which is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that conforms or supports one's prior beliefs or values. People display this bias when they select information that supports their views, ignoring contrary information. Probably you can already think about what this means. This bias also applies in science and in politics and in day-to-day life. So when two human beings have a discussion and each of them has a different point than the other, many times you'll see that many people, they adopt a point and they use only arguments and information that supports their point, ignoring the information that goes against their point. So that's a very bad thing, because you might have proof that your point is wrong right in front of you and you're ignoring that, and you lose credibility in that moment. You're just wrong and you don't want to believe that. And in those days you see around the world, people just, to avoid conflicts, they just say, yeah, everyone has different beliefs and perspectives. They like to use this word perspective, which is, look, some perspectives are wrong. That's just the reality. So sometimes if you want to be successful in life, you just have to realize that some perspectives are wrong and just analyze them. You can have them, but just be aware that they're wrong, and maybe you will change it. And of course it's okay when people just want to avoid conflicts. That's very good. I like to believe that this is just a social game, and yeah, we do that. We want to avoid conflicts. Maybe there is someone that is not as informed as I am. It doesn't have my life experience. It hasn't done as many things as I did, and he's trying to contradict me. I'm not going to argue with that person. I'm just going to say, well, yeah, whatever. That's okay. The same thing can happen in trading. So along the years I discussed with a lot of people that do trading, and some people are obsessed basically by their trading beliefs, that they found something on the internet and they really believe something. And that's very dangerous, because trading changes all the time, and there are many wrong beliefs in trading that will make you lose money, and they are done on purpose by the trading industry. So who invented this game made sure that there are going to be some things in there that are very confusing. So one thing that I like to tell everyone is that every asset has his way of moving. There are assets that move, that are correlated, but not all of them, they move in the same way. That's why you can have different adjustments to your trading strategy depending on the asset that you're trading. So that's very okay. There is no problem with that. Many internet gurus will say that a trading strategy should work the same, with the same adjustments on all assets, and that's false. That will make you lose money, because the United States, so there are indexes in the United States that move different from each other, like the S&P and Dow Jones. They are correlated, but they kind of move, they have like some differences between them that where you have to be careful. Or Nasdaq, it's also correlated, a correlated index, and it has its own way of moving, especially now. And then there is the United Kingdom index, the FTSE or FTSE as they like to call it. Then there is the DAX index, which is the German index, and they seem correlated between them, some of them, and with the American indexes. But in the same time, they move differently. So this is something that you want to be careful with. If you find something on the internet which contradicts what I'm saying, you should be careful, because that's just an information. That's just someone wrote something on the internet, it doesn't have more authority than me because he has a website somewhere. Everybody can do a website, and usually they have an agenda, they want to sell you something. You need to be careful with that because it's easy. The confirmation bias will immediately say, no, that guy has more authority because he's on the internet. You're just a guy that made a course, you don't even have a website, which is ridiculous. You don't need to have a website to have authority. Another issue that the confirmation bias would bring, it's when you have a strategy that works. So let's say you made your adjustment to the strategy and you see that if you took buys, you would have the winnings will be way bigger than the losers. So you can clearly see that. But then let's say that, for example, you have a signal here and you see the price meandering around. You don't like that. But you see those bullish candles, and somewhere on the internet you see some positive news about the Bitcoin. So something that says Bitcoin is going to become $1 trillion in 1 year or something like that. Something ridiculous that there are a lot of ridiculous news even about Bitcoin. And you're thinking, look, this seems like it goes up, so maybe I should risk more on this pair because of that positive news. And a few days later, you get this and you lose 3 times more money than you should normally lose on a losing trade. So this is when confirmation bias can really make you lose money. Because you have a simple signal, you should just take the risk that you have, put it here or below the moving average. In this day, you get taken out of the market. Maybe you move your stop loss here because it goes up just a little, and then you see this black candle and you put your stop loss here. Maybe you have that rule and you take a very small loss. But because of a news that it's somewhere on a website, that it doesn't even mean anything, that website, they do not make the Bitcoin move, they just write stuff. The majority of the websites. So what's behind the price of the Bitcoin that moves the price? It's not on social media or on mass media anywhere. Those guys are busy trading. They are not going to give you information about the Bitcoin, never. That's why you see that Bitcoin takes off without many people and they buy late and they get burned, because this is how it works. Just some people buy and then they sell it to the others that are late, and then they do it again and just a little, and then it breaks. Here it breaks everyone. They do some mitigation and then they start collecting profits everywhere and it goes down. So it's just something that was happening from a long time ago. And if you read the book, it's called Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. It happens in about 1920s. So it's more than 80 years ago, about one of the most successful traders that ever lived. And you see that if you study enough trading today, you'll notice that the price moves the same as they used to in those days. And it's not too many indicators or too many stuff. It's just the same things, buyers and sellers exchanging things between them and so on. So see you in the next video.